I may not always love you, as long as there are stars above you. You never need to doubt it. I make you so sure about it. Hey guys, how's it going? I'm Kevin, and I'm going to teach you how to play another classic song today. We're going to take a look at God Only Knows by the Beach Boys. Released in 1966. I've got this one on vinyl. Do you have this one on vinyl? Have you ever heard this song before? It's appeared in a lot of movies, TV shows. One of my favorite shows of all time, featuring Kevin Arnold, Fred Savage in The Wonder Years. I probably watched a million episodes of that. I don't think there were a million episodes, but if there were, I would have watched them. And more recently, Toy Story 4. It's in the trailer. It's a classic song, and it lends itself perfectly to the ukulele. It's got some really cool chords. If you're looking to advance out of that whole monotony of playing C and A minor and F, this has some really good chords to push you into the next level of chords in ukulele. So we're going to take a look at the chords, the strumming pattern, and do some play-alongs with the lyrics for you so you can sing and play with me. Let's check it out. All right, first things first, we're going to take a look at the strum pattern. Now, it's easy enough. It's just a down strum, and we're going to use an A chord to demonstrate this. Now, this is called a staccato down strum. It means that it's a short duration strum. So when I do it, it's going to kind of emulate that organ sound that you hear bouncing in the track. So that's different sounding than legato, which is... Now, you're welcome to do that as well if the staccato is too tough for you. The staccato version is really cool. Anything that happens with a piano, keyboard, I like to use this strum. So how do I do it? Holding an A chord here, I do the down strum, and after I do that, I'm going to take my finger that I'm not using to hold this A chord, which is my ring, and I'm going to lay that across the strings as I release pressure from the chord. So watch this. Drop my finger on the strings. That cuts off the sound. So strum, strum, cut off. So try that with me. So just strum the A chord and then rest your ring finger on the strings. So you don't want to press the strings, you just want to touch them. When you touch them, you kill the vibration, and that just gives it that short pop duration. Spend a little time with that. That's going to happen throughout the entire song. So the rule of thumb for this is you always want to use your extra finger on whatever chord we're doing. If we're doing a chord that has a bar chord, you use the strum, but you just release your fingers pressure-wise. You don't take them off the strings. You play the chord and release the chord so that it stops. You're going to have to go through some of these chords and figure out on your own where, you're going to be able to mute from. So that's a little challenge in itself, but I will say the staccato strum is awesome. It's really cool to use throughout songs. A lot of the chords in this song are going to be using all four of the strings, so most of the time you're just going to be releasing pressure to get that bouncing feeling. That's the strum. Let's move on to the intro and the chords that we're going to use for the intro. So we use two chords for the intro. We use an A major, easy enough, and then we use an E chord. So there's a couple different ways to play the E major chord. I play it, depending on situation, with my ring finger barring the top three strings on the 4th fret and my index finger here on the 2nd fret on the A string. That's one way of playing it. You may not want to contort your ring finger in this way. You might not be able to. There's another option. You can play with your middle, ring, and pinky on the top three strings here and use your index again back here on the 2nd fret on the A string, like this. Try both of those. See which one works better for you. Some people don't want to use all four fingers. I tend to think it's a little bit much, but I don't mind bar chords. I've played them for a while, so if you're new to bar chords, this might be a good way to kind of start getting used to playing the E. Don't be afraid of the E chord. You'll need it. So here's what happens here in the intro. You're just going to play a down strum 4 times on A, 4 times on E, back and forth. So it just sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, A, 2, 3, 4, E, 2, 3, 4. So the intro is basically A and E back and forth. At the end of the intro in the song, and I encourage you to listen to the recording of this as well, because I'm doing this in the actual key of the recording, so you can kind of pick up on some of these little nuances as you go. At the very end of the intro, we play A 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we do this little pickup, which is actually happening on the organ in the track. We're going to emulate that just by playing the 3 notes. So we play index finger here on the C string 1st fret, and we go pluck with our thumb, and then 3rd fret with our ring finger, pluck again, and then pluck again on the 4th fret on the C string. So let me just play you that so you can hear what it actually sounds like. So it's A, 2, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4 on the C string. So that takes you through the intro. Let's play that together nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. A, 2, 3, 4. E, 2, 3, 4. A, 2, 3, 4. E, 2, 4. A, 2, 3, 4. E, 2, 3, 4. A last time. 3, 4, riff. So that is the intro. If you don't do the riff, that's okay. You could just play the E chord 4 times in its place and then go into the verse. So let's take a look at the verse section. Now, the verse, it's a little challenging, but these chords, like I said, are going to help you kind of go to the next level with your ukulele playing. I promise you're going to get some really cool sounds out of these chords, and you know, it's Brian Wilson. Of course he's going to use some weird stuff. Starts off here with a D chord. Now the D chord, you could play a couple different ways as well. For this situation, I'm going to encourage you to play it with your middle finger on the top string here on the 2nd fret, ring on the C string, 2nd fret, and pinky. Squeeze it in there on the E string on the 2nd fret. So, first line of the song, I May Not Always Love You, starts right there on the D chord. Now, something simple about this, which we're calling the verse section, is every time you play a chord, you strum it 4 times. So that's going to be a common thread throughout this section. So we start off on the D chord. So we start off with 1, 2, 3, 4. And when I play this D chord, I'm kind of aiming just to hit the top 3 strings for the staccato purpose, so I don't get an extra ring. If you want to avoid getting that ring, I kind of tilting my hand down, you can see when I play that D chord every time, so that the A string mutes out as well. And then from there, we're going to move to this B minor 6 chord. So what you do is you take this D shape, you move everything down 1 string and stay on the 2nd fret. So I just shift down here to the C, E, and A string. With my index finger, I'm going to grab the 1st fret here on the G string. And now we have a B minor 6. So just try this little move with your left hand. It's always a good exercise to work on the chord switches with your left hand only, or if you're a lefty, your fretting hand. So just making this little adjustment is a good little exercise in itself. Moving on from there, we move to an F sharp minor. So to transition from B minor 6 to F sharp minor, we move our middle finger up to the top string. We keep our ring finger down here on the E string, so we have middle finger on the G string, index on the C string on the 1st fret. And then again, 4 strums. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then Brian Wilson takes us to another level of weirdness. And he goes to an F sharp minor 6. There's a couple different ways to play this. The way I've been playing it as I learned this tune, I bar the entire 2nd fret with my index finger. My middle finger goes on the C string on the 3rd fret, and my ring finger goes out here on the 4th fret on the A string. Such a nice chord there. So that's an F sharp minor 6th. If you can incorporate that into one of your songs, I will be impressed. So let's take a look at that in the sequence here. So we start off with D, 2, 3, 4, B minor 6, 2, F sharp minor, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. The other way, if you do not want to do a bar chord, and I'm going to give you that because you're my friends and I think that you deserve it. So the other way you could play this F sharp minor 6 if you do not feel like barring it is you could play your index finger here on the G string on the 2nd fret, your middle finger on the E string on the 2nd fret, your ring finger on the C string on the 3rd fret, and then your pinky out here on the 4th fret on the A string. Makes the same sound, you just don't have to do the bar chord. I think it's a little trickier to get into this position than this one, but try it for yourself. See, let me know which one's easier. Moving on from there, we go back to an E chord, which I already showed you. So we move to this E chord 4 times. 2, 3, 4. Then a diminished chord. Have you ever played a diminished chord before? They sound really trippy, but cool, intense. So a C sharp diminished is played like this. Index finger here on the 2nd fret on the G string, ring on the C string, 3rd fret, middle finger here on the E string, 2nd fret, and pinky on the 3rd fret on the A string. That sounds like this. The good thing about this chord is you're covering all 4 strings. So for the staccato strum, you can just bounce it in place. From there, we go back to the E chord 4 times. Bump, 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 bump. Then, C sharp minor, another bar chord. Barring the bottom 3 strings, C, E, A, and ring finger up here on the G string on the 6th fret. Again, 4 times. And then the hook, a little easier chord, back to the A major. So when we say God only knows what I'd be without you, we play A 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, E, 2, 3, 4, and then back to an F sharp minor 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I know that was a lot to digest. Pause this video, run it back, slow down, go through these chords as many times as you need to. Target the chord switches that are most challenging for you and spend your time there. The good news is this verse is the same each time that it happens. It happens 3 times in the song, same chord sequence each time. So if you learn the chord sequence, you've got 90% of the song down. So let's play through this entire verse section. I'll lead you along just with the counts for each chord, and we're going to play it nice and slow so you have some time to really work on this progression. It's a beautiful progression, so don't get, sad about it and go, oh God, I can't do bar chords. Oh, Kevin, why are you doing this to me? I didn't want to play bar chords, just do an A minor. No, you need to learn these because they're cool. Starting on the D chord, remember 4 times for each chord. Let's play this together. 1, 2, 3, 4, D, 2, 3, 4, B minor 6, 2, 3, 4, F sharp minor, 2, 3, to the 6, 2, 3, 4, E, 2, 3, 4, C sharp diminished, 2, E, 2, 3, 4, C sharp minor, A, 2, 3, 4, E, 2, 3, 4, F sharp minor, 2, 3, 4. All right, you made it through the verse. Let's get to the interlude. Now the interlude, I'm calling this section, there's a bunch of like weird hits with the drums and stuff. It moves into this section here where it's kind of the oohs and ahs and stuff going on. We start off this section with something a lot easier, a G chord. And again, everything is strummed 4 times. So we start off with a G chord to another old familiar chord, E minor. 2, 3, 4. Then we go to a B minor, which is another bar chord. So we have index finger across the bottom 3 strings, ring finger up here on the 4th fret on the G string, 4 times. E7 is the next chord. That is index finger here on the 1st fret, middle on the C string 2nd fret, and ring on the 2nd fret as well on the A string. We play that 4 times. So let's just play that little sequence together really quick here. So we go G, 2, 3, 4, E minor, 2, 3, 4, B minor, 2, 3, 4, E7, 2, 3, 4. We're halfway there. Easy chord, A major, starts the second half of the interlude. Then Brian Wilson says, no, we got to get a little weird. We go to this F sharp diminished to create some tension. Index finger here, it's just like when we were doing the C sharp diminished. We're going to do index finger on the G string, 1st fret, ring on the C string, 2nd fret, middle E string, 1st fret, and pinky on the 2nd fret on the A string. Then back to A 4 times. And then that F sharp minor 6th finishes off the interlude. So let's take a look at that second half of the interlude. So it's A, 2, 3, 4, F diminished, 2, A, 2, 3, 4, F sharp minor 6. And then we do the hook again. God only knows what I'd be without you. But Brian Wilson didn't want to do it the same as he did the first few times, so we did it with some different chords. So this time when he says, God only knows what I'd be without you, he does a D chord 4 times, an A chord 4 times, and a B minor chord 4 times. So let's play this entire interlude super slow, 4 times per chord, staccato feel. Just kind of work on those chords that the change is a little more difficult for you. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. G, 2, 3, 4. E minor, 2, 3, 4. B minor, 2, 3, 4. E7, 2, 3, 4. A, 2, 3, 4. F sharp diminished, 2, 3, 4. A, 2, 3, 4. F sharp minor 6, 2. D, 3, 4. A, 2, 3, 4. B minor, 2, 3, 4. So that is the interlude section, where there's kind of a bunch of spooky oohs and ahs and all kinds of cool reverb happening there. It's another tricky little section, but once again, there's some chords that are gonna push you to the next level of playing, I promise. Stick with it. So one more thing before we get to the full play along is the tag that happens at the end of the song where they're just repeating, God only knows what I'd be without you. What happens in that section is A, 4 times, E 4 times, F sharp minor 4 times. And here's the difference. It goes back and plays the E again 4 times. It'll sound like this. God only knows what I'd be without you. God only knows what I'd be without you. And you can keep repeating that until the end of the song. There's going to be all kinds of weird harmonies and stuff happening, but just so you know that little trick before we get into this full play along, which we're going to do right now. First things first, make sure you're tuned up before you do this play along. Things can get a little bit wonky if you are not. Quick little disclaimer before we play this one together. The form is intro, verse 1, verse 2, instrumental interlude, which I'm going to just kind of talk us into, and then we go right into verse 3 at the end of the interlude, and then the tag at the end, God only knows what I'd be without you, with that additional E chord added to the end. Just so you know that before we go in, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. E, last time to A. 1, 2, 3, 4, riff. I may not always love you, as long as there are stars above you. You never need to doubt it. I make you so sure about it. God only knows what I'd be without you. Boom, ba-doo-doo. If you should ever leave me, life would still go on, believe me. The world could show nothing to me. What good would living do me? God only knows what I'd be without you. Into the weird section, now the interlude. 1, 2, 3, 4, G, E minor, B minor, E7, A, F diminished, A to the minor 6, then the hook. God only knows what I'd be without you. Back to the verse. If you should ever leave me, life would still go on, believe me. The world could show nothing to me. What good would living do me? God only knows what I'd be without you. To the back, to the E. God only knows what I'd be without you. Keep repeating this. God only knows what I'd be without you. One more time. God only knows what I'd be without you. We made it! With a slight little hiccup maybe here and there, but you know what? Imperfection is okay. I've learned that in life. Try your best, that's all that matters. You played some chords you've probably never played before, but you know what? Get out of your comfort zone, and that's what it's all about, pushing yourself a little bit each time. Learn some new chords through a song that you can apply to a new song later, or maybe songs that you're going to eventually write yourself. That's what I always kind of take that approach. Use songs to teach you how to write your own, and there are obviously going to appear in other songs too. If you guys like this video, make sure you subscribe, hit that little alert bell so you know when the next video is coming out, and leave your comments below. How did this go for you? Was it a struggle? Which chord changes were challenging for you? What did you find to be easy? Let me know. I want to hear from you. And as always, grab the song sheet, allforuke.com. I put a song sheet together with the chords, how many times you play them with the strumming pattern so that you can go through this whole thing. Take the song sheet with you to your next outing. Show it to some friends that play uke too. And send me a video of you playing this song. I'd love to see it. Share it with us on Instagram. Hashtag allforuke. I'll feature you on our story. I love hearing from you guys. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Need to doubt it. I make you so sure about it.